Hey guys, it's Tom Braegelmann here. I'm here with Arthur Zorn, and we want to talk a little bit today about a project that we're working with Arthur on in Costa Rica. Some of you know we do deals in Puerto Rico, but we're also, this one happens to be in Costa Rica. And Arthur and I originally met, maybe a couple of years ago at one of the meetups. We have the Bay Area Private Money for Real Estate Investors Meetup Group. It's the second Tuesday of every month in San Jose, California. And I just looked online. We have 2,540 members now.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And it's been, and another thing is, December, this meeting is actually our 6-year anniversary, this particular meeting. We started it in December of 2010. And so Arthur and I met at that meetup. The meetup is really set up in a way so that people who want to be investors, people who are currently investors, it might be brokers, might be insurance agents, just about anybody that's involved in real estate. We get just a lot of different people from that come to the meeting. We usually get 80 to 100 people at the meeting.
Yeah, it's a good mix and very collaborative. There's a lot of networking.
Yeah. I was mentioning to somebody the other day that if we were to ask for a raise of hands of who all has worked with other people in the room, and unless they're newbies for that meeting, my guess is we'd have probably 75 or 80% of the people that have worked somehow with each other in that room. So again, Bay Area Private Money for Real Estate Investors in San Jose, and the goal is to really be collaborative, help each other grow their businesses, and so anyway, let's get to this project that we're working on in Costa Rica. It is, well, I'm going to let you share a little bit about the project, but Arthur, you've got a master's degree at MBA at Harvard, and you've had a couple of businesses. You've very successful businesses. You're an engineer, I believe, and
applied physicist.
Okay, applied physicist.
I spent about 20 plus years in high tech, starting companies and inventing things and winning innovation awards and whatever.
Wow,
it was
very cool.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. We'll have to sometime we'll do a video just on that part of your history and your background. But the reason that we like the idea of working together is that I could tell right away first of all, from that sort of a background, that there's certainly some credibility built into that, but could tell right away with working with Arthur and the things that we looked at on the projects he brought into us, that there was a lot. He was very conscientious, very conservative in your numbers, and that's what we really like to see. Very conscientious about investors' money, and so that got us to talking, and eventually you brought in. This is one of a couple of projects. This one is in Costa Rica. And, I guess if did I miss anything on your background? Did we cover that pretty well for right now?
You covered it pretty well. I've been doing real estate for a couple of decades. Started with the typical rental houses, fixes and flips and holds. And I've held resort properties in Utah through the Olympics and after, and lots of apartments in DFW. As well as houses and condos and other things in DFW and other places in the U.S. So.
Wow. I bet you'd have some interesting stories to tell.
Oh, lots of
maybe
stories.
Good and bad?
Everybody in real estate I could tell you horror stories. I mean, let's just say that I made it through the crash.
Yeah,
and survived and didn't go bankrupt.
Believe me,
so,
I know
that was a lot of good stories right there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Part of why I'm so conservative is because I saw what happens at the end of a credit cycle, and it gets really ugly. Yeah. And right now it's looking like we might be nearing the end of a credit cycle, and it's going to get really ugly for a lot of people, and I do not intend to be one of those people, nor will my investors be. Exactly. Which is why we use very little debt on the deals I do. And that's why I'm not doing typical low cap rate, high leverage, 1.2 debt coverage ratio kinds of things out there.
Right, 4 or 5.
The time to do that is at the bottom of the market cycle, not when you think you might be near the top.
Exactly. So, well, let's talk just a little bit about the project in Costa Rica.
Sure.
Would you mind we've got these things on the backboard, and see if I can get this camera to flip around. All right, so let's give it a shot here. if you want to just share a bit about what you have here.
Sure. This is a property I found in Costa Rica at a very deep discount for less than half of its market value and appraised value and replacement costs. It's a newly built mansion on a hill with a beautiful pool and all top-end finishes, Belgian plaster and so forth. And down here is the view that almost every room in the mansion has, and all of the huge decks. And this property also has some terrazos to build additional units. And
Terrazos meaning
it's like
terraces.
a terrace.
Right,
Yeah, it's sort of partially, some of the horizontal improvements have already been done, and we're going to do a lot more.
Okay.
So when I looked at this property, I said, it's a great value, and I could get it under contract at a very low price.
Yeah.
But what do you do with it? And Costa Rica is one of the world's top countries for tourism, and I already have an asset down there that's very attractive to tourists. So what we decided to do here was turn the main house into a B&B with a 60-seat restaurant that'll have the best views of the area.
Yeah.
And some of the highest quality food and service to go with those views, and just top-notch, exquisite, sort of deluxe boutique. Then we're also developing out a site plan now to add 24 villas to this property. Each villa will be 2 bedrooms with lockouts, so they can be rented as a 2-bedroom suite, a 1-bedroom suite, separate rooms. And we'll build 24 of those and sell them to investors. So they'll be getting A+ cap rates, and they'll be able to write off vacations to our resort that we're building out
Right.
here.
And the
which is
resort will
kind
do
of
all
in paradise.
the management of it.
The resort will manage everything and
totally
make it real easy
maintenance-free.
for you, so it's as turnkey as it gets. We have a big interest in managing every unit the same and managing the quality of every unit, and basically our goal is to achieve superlative guest experiences, because we want 5-star reviews from every guest.
Right,
That's
right.
how we build business, that's how we build our rates up and our bookings, and that's how this sort of builds an unfair advantage in the area. We're starting out with an unfair advantage because we have the nicest views of the lake. We're very close to the marina. We'll be the closest accommodations to a small marina, so we'll be able to offer boat tours and other water.
Should we look here on the map about where?
Oh, sure.
Where we're
This is
located?
where we're located, right at Lake Arenal, which is the largest lake in Costa Rica and is one of the most underutilized lakes I've ever seen. It's drop dead gorgeous, and you hardly see a boat on it, even though there's no real restrictions around that. It's about an hour and 40 minutes from LIR Airport, which is a rapidly expanding international airport. It's the second international airport in Costa Rica, and Delta, United, American fly there. And in the past year, Southwest, JetBlue, and Alaska have all started. And they're all opening up new U.S. cities like crazy. So what we're getting is a lot more Americans are finding out that they can get to this airport in Costa Rica far quicker than places like Hawaii, and for far less money.
Sure.
And when they find out that Costa Rica is the #1 recommended country in the world by tourists for tourists, they go, oh, let's check it out.
Yeah.
And they come. So we're leveraging on that rapid growth in tourism there.
Very cool. Well, let's go just a little bit more on the site, and then maybe we can talk just for a minute about why Costa Rica, what are the advantages, maybe disadvantages.
Yeah, I'll show you the site, and then I'll tell you about the country.
Okay.
This is an aerial view showing an overlay of where we're going to put roads and units. It's a little hard to see, so maybe move to this one, which takes out the imagery. But there's a public road coming up here, and this will be our main entrance here, gated. This is the existing mansion with the views. It goes downhill kind of this way, and the lake is sort of down below your image here. These gray blocks are each a pair of villas, so we'll be building duplexes, typically 2 to 3 stories tall, but some single-story flats. About 1,100 square feet plus deck, very high-quality finishes.
And those will be done in stages. They won't all be done at the same
Correct.
time.
We're going to build 2 at first and use one as a sales office. And obviously each one we build, we can start renting. And the rental and the sales businesses are kind of synergistic, because each time we rent, more people are seeing it and might consider buying it.
Sure.
So we'll start taking orders. As we build the first pair, we'll be getting all of our condo declarations in place and the paperwork and the permitting to have a full condo in place, which takes about the same time as building 2 units. And
Okay.
as orders come in for the units, we'll be building more units. We expect to make a really good profit on the units as well as on the rentals. One of the benefits you get in Costa Rica is first world pricing, because your customers are mostly Americans with some Europeans. but you get developing world cost structures, whether you're doing construction or operations. At my beach estate rental property that I syndicated in Tamarindo, which is an hour from the airport the other way.
Yeah.
Our staff of 2 full-time, including all their benefits, health plan, vacation, whatever, they cost less than our electric bill between the 2 of them. And they're happy.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? They have a decent life.
Right.
They have a better rated healthcare system than the U.S. and the same level of literacy and education systems at the U.S., more social safety nets and cleaner water right out of the tap, healthier food. I mean, it's kind of a sustainability paradise there. 90% of the energy is renewable. You don't have to ask if food's organic because it's just easy to throw a fruit down on the ground and you have a fruit tree 3 years later and you pick the fruit off it.
Right.
It's just it's sort of naturally extremely fertile down there.
Yeah.
With year-round clean water and power.
Yeah, and I know that especially Chuck and I were talking that the fact that it is a developing world country with that type of pricing, but with the retail the actual and retail value being more of like what we see here in the States. That was a big thing. Chuck was down there maybe about a month ago, I believe, and he did
he visited.
Pretty extensive digging into some of the local area, talking with some of the local officials and whatnot, and so he was pretty impressed with it. I haven't been down to see it yet, but
we'll get you there.
Well, sooner or later we'll make it there. So, but yeah, I think. What else can we say about it here?
Well, the villas will be in the $200,000 range, which is a pretty attractive price for vacation villas at a resort with prime views, stunning views.
Okay.
I do want to just make people aware of Costa Rica as an investment destination.
Right.
Because people think, ooh, developing world, Central America, it might not be safe. So Costa Rica has one of the oldest, most stable democracies in the world. It's been a democracy since before any of us were born. They have no army constitutionally, so the government was set up to put its capital into its country and into social development. And that's why they have great healthcare systems and great schools. There's no strife in the country. There's no racial strife. There's no terrorism. There's no big drug gangs. There's none of the problems you hear about. So it's peaceful. And since everybody in the country has kind of a good safety net, and they have good food and clean water, and they're healthy, and they have some of the longest lifespans in the world, even the poor people are happy. So it's often rated the happiest country on earth in surveys.
Very cool.
Which makes it a very safe feeling place to be and a friendly place to be.
Right.
But there's also really low taxes. There's no currency controls. There's sort of U.S. style laws. If you're a lender, you can foreclose in 90 days. Titles are respected. It feels safe. And then even though it's exotic and there's monkeys in the trees and so forth, it feels a little familiar because enough people speak English, so you don't need to learn Spanish. Everything can be done in dollars. You can plug your U.S. appliances in the wall. You can drink the tap water. You can use your cell phone. It feels like a comfortable place to do business where it's a little bit new, but not so much that you're blown away and can't figure out how to deal with it.
It sounds really similar to what Puerto Rico probably is, and I'm very familiar with that. We have offices down there too, and so it seems like it's very similar.
It's also really easy to develop. I believe that all the entitlement for this entire project will cost less than entitling one apartment unit in San Jose.
Wow.
And be much easier. Take 1/10 the time.
Right.
And nobody's going to sue us and have public hearings and whatever. It's just, you know, we go talk to the muni, we get the environmental agency to say, yeah, you're planning to do it right, and basically done.
It does have the controls, but it's reasonable controls. So it's not the wild west.
It's not the Wild West. There's one national building code, so you don't have to worry about each muni jerking you around in different ways. There's one national title registry, and the building code is very strict in the sense that it's earthquake country, and the construction quality there often makes California seem scary to me. Believe me.
Wow.
You build with concrete walls, lots of reinforcement, things like that, right? It's not sticks and bricks like it might be here.
Right.
So it's very sturdy. Things there survive big earthquakes. We're not in a hurricane zone. or a tsunami zone or anything like that, right? So it's, other than earthquakes, which we build for, it's very safe in every way.
Very cool. Well, good. Well, I think just keep an eye out. We'll probably have some more updates on this project in Costa Rica. And, if you ever have questions for Arthur, let us know. You can reach us. Just click on the link and we'll be able to get you Arthur's information. Or if you ever have questions for us, certainly let me know. I'm happy to answer anything we can. So with that, until next time, thank you, Arthur. And we'll go from there. Take care.